Hello, esteemed gentlemen. A face that refuses to explain itself will always be studied longer than a face that begs to be understood. Think about that for a second. Have you ever noticed how the people everyone calls good-looking aren't always the ones people can't stop staring at? Strange, isn't it? Because the human brain isn't obsessed with beauty nearly as much as it's obsessed with unfinished puzzles. The moment your face becomes difficult to read, impossible to predict, or refuses to hand out emotional answers for free, people start paying attention without even realizing they're doing it. Psychologists have long known that the brain spends more time trying to solve uncertainty than certainty. That's why an unreadable expression can be more unforgettable than a perfect smile. Now, before anyone rushes to the mirror trying to practice their Sigma face, relax. If looking serious alone made someone fascinating, every passport photo would be irresistible. The truth is far more surprising. There are subtle things hidden in a Sigma male's face that quietly influence how people react to him. They aren't about perfect jawlines, expensive grooming, or looking angry for no reason. They're silent signals that most people never notice consciously, yet somehow can't ignore. And once you understand them, you'll never look at your own face, or anyone else's, the same way again. So stay with me, because by the end of this video you'll discover why people become obsessed with a Sigma male's face, without ever fully understanding why. Number 1. Your face never rushes to catch up with the room. One of the first things people notice about a Sigma male isn't that he's expressionless. It's that his face doesn't seem to race after everyone else's emotions. When someone tells a joke, gets angry, celebrates, or starts arguing, most people react almost instantly. Their faces change before they've even finished thinking. A Sigma male is different. His expression seems to wait for his mind to finish its job before it joins the conversation. That tiny pause changes everything. To some people, it looks like confidence. To others, it feels mysterious. But what they're really seeing is someone who refuses to let the room decide how his face should behave. He's not being cold or trying to look impressive. He's simply allowing himself to think before reacting. That alone makes people pay closer attention. The strange thing is that people are used to reading faces like subtitles. They expect every emotion to appear immediately. When they can't predict what's coming next, their curiosity kicks in. They begin watching more carefully, wondering what could possibly be going through his mind. Without realizing it, they've shifted their attention toward him. This is why a Sigma male often stands out in a crowd without saying much. His face doesn't join emotional stampedes. It stays grounded while everyone else is rushing to keep up with the mood of the room. In a world where reactions have become automatic, self-control looks almost unusual. Ironically, the less his face tries to grab attention, the more attention it quietly earns. People may not remember every word he says, but they'll remember how difficult it was to read him. That unanswered question lingers in their minds long after the conversation ends, and sometimes that's far more memorable than the loudest expression in the room. Number 2. Your eyes look like they're comparing reality with something else. There is something unusually difficult to explain about the way a Sigma male looks at the world. It isn't an intense stare meant to intimidate people, and it isn't the empty look of someone who isn't paying attention. It's something in between. His eyes often give the impression that they are quietly comparing what is happening right now with something deeper that nobody else can see. This is why people sometimes feel strangely aware around him. While others quickly accept words at face value, a Sigma male seems to study the space between what people say and what they actually mean. His eyes don't rush to believe every smile, every promise, or every excuse. They linger just long enough to notice what doesn't fit. That silent observation can make people surprisingly uncomfortable, not because he's judging them, but because they feel seen beyond the version of themselves they're trying to present. Even confident people may find themselves explaining more than they planned to, simply because his expression doesn't instantly reward their performance. The fascinating part is that a Sigma male usually isn't trying to send any message at all. He's simply paying attention. In a world where so many people are distracted by appearances, someone who quietly notices patterns instead of putting on a show naturally stands out. People become obsessed with those eyes because they seem to ask questions without saying a single word. They don't just look at what's in front of them. They seem to search for what lies beneath it. That creates an unforgettable impression, leaving others wondering what he noticed that everyone else completely missed. Number 3. Your face doesn't beg to be understood. Most people unknowingly wear their emotions on their faces. They smile so others will like them, frown so others will notice they're upset, or force expressions that make them seem friendly, confident, or interesting. In many ways, their face is constantly asking for something: approval, attention, sympathy, or acceptance. A Sigma male's face plays a completely different game. His expression doesn't seem desperate to explain itself. If he's happy, he doesn't feel the need to prove it. If he's upset, he doesn't advertise it. If he disagrees with someone, his face doesn't immediately reveal it. This doesn't mean he lacks emotion. It means he doesn't feel responsible for making everyone else comfortable with what he's feeling. That quiet self-control creates an unusual effect. People aren't used to someone who doesn't immediately offer emotional reassurance. Instead of moving on, they keep looking, hoping to find a clue that tells them what he's thinking. The more they search, the more curious they become. Ironically, the less his face asks to be understood, the harder people work to understand it. Some mistake him for being mysterious. Others assume he's hiding something. The truth is often much simpler. He's comfortable letting people wonder instead of constantly explaining himself. That level of emotional independence is rare today. In a world where many people feel pressured to constantly express, react, and reassure, a Sigma male's face quietly says, "I don't need everyone to understand me." And that silent confidence leaves a stronger impression than any carefully rehearsed expression ever could. Number 4. You look like someone who already knows the ending. There is something about a Sigma male's face that makes people feel like he's rarely caught off guard. While others react to every twist, surprise, or emotional moment, his expression often stays steady, as if he's already considered what might happen next. It isn't because he can predict the future, it's because he has learned to pay attention to patterns instead of promises. Over time, people begin to notice this. When someone makes a big claim, he doesn't look impressed too quickly. When someone apologizes, he doesn't instantly believe every word. When people make promises about changing, his face doesn't light up with excitement. He quietly waits to see if actions match the words. That patience creates the impression that he's already seen this story before. This can be unsettling for people who rely on charm or emotion to influence others. They expect excitement, shock, or immediate trust, but instead they meet a calm face that seems to be waiting for the next chapter. Suddenly, they're the ones wondering what he's thinking. The truth is, a Sigma male often understands that human behavior repeats itself. Different people may enter his life, but many habits, excuses, and intentions look surprisingly familiar. His face reflects that quiet experience. It doesn't rush to celebrate or panic, because it knows that time reveals more than emotions ever will. That is why people become fascinated by his expression. It gives off the feeling that he isn't just listening to today's conversation, he's already paying attention to tomorrow's outcome. And that quiet sense of perspective makes his face impossible to forget. Number 5. Your smile feels earned, not automatic. A Sigma male's smile has value because it isn't handed out to everyone. In a world where many people smile out of habit, politeness, or pressure, His smile often appears only when he genuinely feels it. That difference may seem small, but people notice it more than they realize. When he smiles, it doesn't look forced or rehearsed. It doesn't feel like a social requirement or a way to make people like him. It comes naturally, and because it isn't always there, it carries more meaning. People instinctively recognize that they have seen a real reaction instead of a practiced one. This creates an interesting effect. Many people find themselves wanting to be the reason behind that smile. They crack another joke, tell another story, or make another effort, hoping to see it again. Without saying a word, his rare smile becomes more memorable than someone else's constant grin. The truth is, a smile loses its impact when it's available every second. When every conversation begins and ends with the same expression, people stop noticing it. But when a Sigma male smiles only at moments that truly deserve it, that single expression stands out. It feels honest, and honesty is surprisingly rare. His face quietly sends a message that emotions should mean something. He doesn't smile to fill silence or avoid awkward moments. He smiles because something genuinely moved him, amused him, or earned his respect. That authenticity is what people become attached to. They don't remember the number of times he smiled. They remember the moments when he did, because those moments felt real. And in a world full of automatic reactions, something real is incredibly hard to ignore. Number 6. Your face doesn't mirror other people's emotions. Most people don't realize how often they borrow emotions from everyone around them. If someone laughs, they laugh. If someone gets angry, they become angry too. If the mood in the room changes, their face changes with it almost instantly. A Sigma male is often different. His face doesn't automatically copy what everyone else is feeling. That catches people off guard. When someone is overly excited, he doesn't force excitement just to fit in. When someone is trying to stir up drama, his face doesn't immediately reflect panic or frustration. Instead, he stays emotionally grounded. He responds to situations based on what he actually thinks, not on what everyone else expects him to feel. This can be surprisingly powerful. People who rely on emotional reactions to influence others suddenly lose their advantage. A loud voice, dramatic story, or emotional outburst doesn't easily pull him in because his face refuses to become a mirror for someone else's emotions. Many people mistake this for being distant, but it's actually a sign of emotional discipline. He isn't disconnected from others. He simply chooses his reactions instead of borrowing them. That quiet independence makes people curious. They start wondering why he isn't reacting the way everyone else is. They pay closer attention, searching for signs that they've somehow missed. Ironically, the harder they try to read him, the calmer he appears. Number 7. Your expression changes in tiny degrees instead of big movements. One reason people can't stop looking at a Sigma male's face is because it doesn't reveal everything at once. While many people react with exaggerated smiles, dramatic frowns, or wide-eyed surprise, his expressions often change so slightly that you could miss them if you weren't paying attention. A small lift of an eyebrow, a subtle shift around the eyes, or the faintest smile can say more than a dozen loud reactions. That is exactly what makes people curious. When every emotion is displayed in bold letters, there's nothing left to discover. But when emotions appear in small, controlled ways, people naturally start paying closer attention. They begin wondering if they missed something. They replay the conversation in their minds, trying to figure out what caused that tiny change in expression. This isn't about hiding feelings. It's about expressing them with intention instead of impulse. A Sigma male doesn't feel the need to broadcast every thought across his face. He lets his emotions speak only when they truly have something to say. That quiet restraint has an unexpected effect. People start noticing the little things because the little things are all they have. A brief smile suddenly feels meaningful. A slight nod carries weight. Even the smallest change in his expression can completely shift the mood of a conversation. In today's world, where big reactions often compete for attention, subtlety has become rare, and rare things naturally draw interest. People may not be able to explain why his face stays in their mind, but it's often because it speaks in whispers while everyone else is shouting. Those whispers are easy to overlook, yet impossible to forget once they've been noticed. Number 8. Your face makes liars feel like they forgot something. There is something unsettling about talking to a person whose face gives almost nothing away. A Sigma male doesn't rush to nod, interrupt, or show instant agreement. Instead, his expression stays calm, attentive, and quietly focused. That alone can make dishonest people feel unexpectedly uncomfortable. The reason is simple. Most people who stretch the truth depend on reactions. They watch your face for signs that you've believed them, doubted them, or become emotionally invested. The moment they can't read your response, they lose one of their biggest advantages. A Sigma male's face doesn't provide those easy clues. Instead of reacting to every sentence, he listens. Instead of chasing every detail, he lets the other person keep talking. And the longer someone talks without getting the reaction they expected, the more likely they are to trip over their own words. They begin adding unnecessary explanations, correcting themselves, or changing small details without realizing it. What's fascinating is that the Sigma male doesn't have to accuse anyone of lying. His calm expression often does the work for him. Silence has a strange way of making people fill empty space, and those who aren't being truthful usually fill it with mistakes. People often assume he's intimidating, but that's not the real story. His face simply refuses to reward performance before facts. It quietly waits, observes, and lets time expose what emotions try to hide. Number 9. You're calm. Expression ruins other people's scripts. Most people enter a conversation with a plan, even if they don't realize it. They expect certain reactions. They expect you to laugh at the joke, get offended by the insult, agree with the compliment, or become defensive when challenged. They've already written the next part of the conversation in their mind before you've even spoken. Then they meet a Sigma male. His face doesn't follow the script they prepared. If someone tries to impress him, he doesn't immediately look impressed. If someone tries to provoke him, he doesn't instantly become angry. If someone expects praise, his expression doesn't hand it out just because it's expected. That calm face quietly interrupts the conversation they thought they were going to have. The result is fascinating. People begin changing their approach without even noticing. They explain themselves more, repeat their points, or suddenly become less confident because the reaction they were counting on never arrives. It's almost as if they're trying to unlock a door that refuses to open the usual way. The Sigma male isn't playing mind games. He simply responds honestly instead of automatically. His face reflects what he actually thinks, not what someone else hopes to see. That authenticity is surprisingly rare. In a world where many conversations feel predictable, a person who can't be easily steered becomes unforgettable. His calm expression quietly reminds people that not everyone can be controlled by flattery, pressure, or emotion. And once someone's script falls apart, they're left facing something they didn't expect. A person who thinks before he reacts, and whose face refuses to read lines from someone else's play. Number 10. People project their own stories onto your face. One of the strangest things about a Sigma male's face is that it often tells people more about themselves than it tells them about him. Because his expressions are calm, measured, and not overly revealing, people naturally begin filling in the blanks with their own assumptions. They don't see who he is. They see who they believe he is. Someone who is insecure may think he's judging them. Someone who is confident may assume he respects them. A dishonest person may believe he's already been caught, while a genuine person may feel completely comfortable around him. The same face creates completely different reactions because every person interprets it through the lens of their own experiences. This happens more often than people realize. The human mind dislikes uncertainty, so it quickly creates a story to make sense of what it can't fully understand. A Sigma male's face leaves just enough mystery for those stories to grow. The interesting part is that he usually isn't trying to create any of these impressions. He's simply being himself. Yet people continue to label him as mysterious, arrogant, wise, distant, or even intimidating, often without having a real conversation with him. That is why his face becomes unforgettable. It acts like a quiet mirror instead of a loud announcement. People walk away believing they've figured him out, when in reality they've revealed far more about themselves than they ever learned about him. Sometimes the face people can't stop thinking about isn't the one giving away secrets. It's the one quietly exposing the assumptions they carried all along. Number 11. Your eyes seem more interested in patterns than personalities. Most people are quickly drawn to personalities. They notice who is funny, charming, popular, or loud. A Sigma male often notices something completely different. His eyes seem less interested in the performance and more interested in the pattern behind it. He pays attention to what people do repeatedly, not just what they say once. If someone is kind only when others are watching, he notices. If someone always changes their opinion depending on who is in the room, he notices that too. While others are impressed by confidence or smooth words, he's quietly connecting small pieces that reveal a much bigger picture. That changes the way people experience him. Many conversations are built on first impressions, but a Sigma male doesn't stop there. His face suggests that he's collecting information instead of making quick judgments. He isn't looking for the most exciting person in the room. He's looking for the most consistent one. People can feel this without fully understanding why. They begin to realize that pretending won't work for long because he's paying attention to habits, not highlights. One impressive moment won't erase a long history of bad behavior, and one bad day won't erase years of loyalty. This makes his face quietly powerful. It doesn't react to appearances as easily as most people expect. Instead, it reflects patience, observation, and a willingness to let time reveal someone's true character. Number 12. Your expression doesn't leak your next move. One of the biggest reasons people become fascinated by a Sigma male's face is because it rarely gives away what he's about to do. Most people unknowingly reveal their intentions before they act. Their excitement, frustration, confidence, or hesitation shows up on their face long before they make a decision. A Sigma male is often different. His expression stays steady, making it difficult for anyone to predict his next move. That can be surprisingly powerful. People naturally look for clues. They study facial expressions to guess whether someone is about to agree, disagree, leave, stay, forgive, or walk away. When those clues aren't there, they become curious. They pay closer attention, hoping to catch even the smallest hint. The harder they look, the more they realize there isn't an easy answer. This doesn't mean a Sigma male is hiding his emotions or trying to confuse people. It simply means he has learned not to let every passing thought appear on his face. He prefers to make decisions quietly and let his actions speak first. That habit often catches people by surprise. They assume they have him figured out because he hasn't reacted much. Then, without drama or long speeches, he makes a decision that changes everything. By the time others understand what happened, he's already moved forward. In a world where many people announce every intention before taking action, a Sigma male's face remains calm, patient, and unreadable. His expression doesn't promise anything too early. It waits until the moment is right. And that quiet discipline leaves people wondering what he's thinking long after the conversation has ended, because they know one thing for certain. His next move will be revealed by action, not expression. Conclusion. The truth is, people aren't captivated by a Sigma male's face because it's perfect. They're captivated because it doesn't reveal everything at once. In a world where so many expressions are automatic, exaggerated, or carefully performed, a face that stays genuine, thoughtful, and emotionally disciplined becomes impossible to ignore. It doesn't chase attention, yet it quietly earns it. It doesn't demand answers, yet it leaves people asking questions long after the conversation is over. What makes a Sigma male unforgettable isn't mystery for the sake of mystery. It's the quiet confidence of someone who lets actions speak louder than expressions, who thinks before reacting, and who never feels pressured to wear a mask just to fit in. His face reflects patience instead of panic, observation instead of assumption, and authenticity instead of performance. Those are qualities that never go out of style. So if you've ever wondered why some people can't seem to forget a Sigma male after meeting him, now you know. It isn't always about looks. More often it's about presence. It's about the silent signals that reveal strength without announcing it, and confidence without demanding applause. If you enjoyed this video and discovered something new today, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive. Give this video a thumbs up if it challenged the way you see people, and let us know in the comments. Which point surprised you the most? And have you ever met someone whose face left you with more questions than answers? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay observant, stay authentic, and remember, sometimes the strongest impression you leave isn't made by what you say, but by what you never have to explain.